Well, hey there, it's Catherine from CatherinePolar.com. In this video, we're going to use the products from the Hey Pumpkin bundle. It includes the Hey Pumpkin stamp set, the Hey Pumpkin dies, the Jack-o'-lantern faces stamp set, and the Cobweb Mini Cover Plate. We also have a Fall Essentials bundle, which includes the narrow stripe cover plate shown here, the amazing mini cover plate die, which isn't shown here, but we also have the Fall Pick and Mix patterned paper. It's a great fall color palette for you, so it includes Mandarin Spice, Orange Peel, Lemongrass, Hot Tub, Daydream, Twilight, and Blackjack. And we have the coordinating sequins. These are our Mystic sequins, and you can see the coordinating colors in here and the lovely sparkle and shine. So all of these products are going to coordinate really well together. Purchasing the bundle, you get a discount. You can also pick and choose. You can choose your favorites and put your own bundle together. We are also really excited to be releasing our Paradise Found ink collection in mini ink pads. So let's create some cards. We're going to create 6. We're going to start with a really simple card, and then we're going to move more elaborate as we go on, and we're going to finish up with a shaker card. So the Hey Pumpkin stamp set has this cute little Hey Pumpkin sentiment and several different pumpkin shapes, different sizes, different shapes with different patterns. So they're really great to mix and match. I'm inking this in orange peel and stamping on my white cardstock. Just a really simple 2 pumpkins on here, one with orange peel, one with Mandarin Spice. So the stamp set has several different stems, several different leaf options, and then some grass. Add your card layer, the stamped layer, to a card front. Add a little twine, and you're done with a fabulous, clean and simple card, perfect for the upcoming fall season. The Hey Pumpkin stamp set has coordinating dies. I usually prefer to die cut a bunch of the images first and then stamp on top of the die cut. If you get a better result by stamping and then die cutting, that is a great way to do it as well. So I have a bunch of these cut out, and I'm just going to ink them up and stamp them. I'm using full-size ink pads as well as mini ink pads. So all of our colors, all 58 at this point, come in full-size ink pads. We do have all of our party colors in mini size ink pads. They are the very same ink, the very same firm foam pad in a smaller size. So the minis are a 1 inch by 2 inch pad. The full-size ink pads are 2 by 3. Our full-size ink pads are available for purchase individually, or you can purchase them in their color bundles. And then the mini ink pads are all available in sets, so they're bundled together as collections of colors. Makes color coordination really easy for you. So on this card, we're going to go a step up from the clean and simple card that we just did. We're going to take a 4 by 5 1/4 inch card layer, just like we did in the first card. I'm going to use one of the die cut pumpkins, but then I'm going to create some interest and dimension on the card by stamping some of the pumpkins straight onto the card front. And then we'll have the added interest and dimension from the die cut pumpkin. I'll add the stems, the leaves, the grass, and then what else? I want some more embellishments on this card. So I thought it would be really cute to add a little strip of patterned paper. So the Fall Pick and Mix. My favorite is always a stripe. It's just, you can put a stripe on just about any project. So I'm just going to cut a little strip of the stripe, add Hey Pumpkin underneath, tie a little bit of our new twine around the card, and we're all done. This is still a pretty clean and simple card, but you can see how by just adding a couple more pumpkins, a die cut pumpkin, and a little strip of patterned paper can take it up a notch. So for the next card, we're going to do some background stamping with the pumpkins. So I'm using different shapes and different sizes to create an interesting background. I'm using orange peel and Mandarin Spice for the pumpkins, and then Eucalyptus, green tea, and lemongrass for the leaves, and icing on the cake for the stems. So once I stamped the background, when I was all done with this, you can see like that first little stem that I did and the third stem overlaps another stamped pumpkin. So once I was finished with this, it kind of was bugging me a little bit. So I decided that I needed to stamp another background, because the mistake I made on this one is I stamped all the pumpkins and I didn't quite leave enough room to stamp the other pieces. Now, this is a look that is fun and cute, but if it feels a little crowded to you, we're going to stamp another background in a minute and we'll talk about that. So in the meantime, I wanted to do a sentiment, and I wanted it on colored cardstock. So I just took my Daydream ink pad, using the direct to paper technique, swipe it across my cardstock, and I have Daydream cardstock. The colored paper technique piece that I have looks a little splotchy, and that will smooth out as your ink dries. If you still have a little bit of splotchiness, just be careful about how even you're applying the color to the paper. So our inks stay wet for a short time, so I zapped it with a heat tool, and then I used a deactivator tool to make sure that all the dampness was gone from the cardstock. If I hadn't done that, then the white embossing powder would have stuck to all sorts of places on this piece, this technique piece. So heating it and then using the deactivator tool removes all that moisture, and then I get a really nice embossed white sentiment. I used a piece of Daydream striped patterned paper from the Fall Pick and Mix patterned paper pack, and I did my background stamping piece on an angle. Adhered that all together, and then added my sentiment on there using some foam tape. And then I'm adding a fun little accent pumpkin here using foam tape and adhering the leaf to the sentiment. I'm finishing it off with some Mystic sequins, and there's another fun card for Halloween or fall, or just to say hello. So for this next card, I'm going to stamp another background. I'm going to be a little bit more deliberate about it. I wanted to use a little patterned paper here, so I wanted to create another background stamping card, but with a different flair and a different layout. So just a strip of patterned paper there. I lined it up on my card so I could stamp the sentiment, and then I'm going to stamp my pumpkins around the sentiment and going out from there. So stamp my pumpkin, do the stem, the leaf, and any other little stamps that I want stamped nearby. I'm going to have to plan them out as I go along. And then I'm adding the little swirls in Daydream and then building out from there. So another pumpkin and the stem and the leaves, and just keep building and spacing as I go across the whole background. For this part that's going to end up under my strip of patterned paper, it's okay to stamp two pumpkins on top of each other because it's going to be covered up by the patterned paper. If I hadn't stamped them like that, then there would have been this weird open space above the patterned paper strip. So maybe in hindsight, I should have not done the big pumpkin at the bottom before I filled in the middle of the card there. So anyway, it all worked out. So just working my way around the whole background. When you stamp a background like this, one thing to keep in mind is to stamp off of your cardstock so that it looks like you took a big piece of wrapping paper or a big piece of patterned paper and just cut it down. If you keep all of your stamped images inside and don't stamp them off, it might look awkward in some spaces, so stamping them off the edge gives them a more natural look. And then for this squiggle piece, I thought it would be fun to add a little stripe there. I love my stripes. And then a little piece of twine. I'm going to add some foam tape and then add this to my card base. For the next card, we're going to use a lot of fun patterns. So I have 4 squares. They are just under 2 inches each. I played with some pattern. Of course, I have to use 2 stripes in there and then 2 more busy patterns. I thought those looked really great together, so I kind of staged them up there at the top, added my sentiment down in the bottom right, and then the pumpkins, I have them die cut and stamped already from the beginning of the video. It's always great to have little pieces to add to your cards like this. Great to have them on hand. And then these, I want to make them into jack-o'-lanterns. So I'm adding the jack-o'-lantern faces. The faces are so funky and fun. I just love them. They make me giggle. You can also stamp these with embossing ink and add glow-in-the-dark embossing powder on them, and then take them into the dark and they glow. So that's a really, really fun, different way to use them. And then we'll just add the pumpkins right onto the squares, and one is just adhered straight to the card. One has foam tape for some dimension, and the stems and the leaves, and then of course I have to add a few of those mystic sequins to polish it off. This card was pretty clean and simple, but just another way to use these products. And the final card here, of course, I need to make a shaker, especially since we have a brand new mini cover plate. Our new Cobweb Mini Cover Plate and our new Amazing Mini Cover Plate. The dimensions of the outer edge of these two dies are the same, so they can be used to coordinate together. So when making a shaker card, you can use the outer frame or the outer die of the Amazing Mini Cover Plate to die cut your acetate and your backer for your shaker. And then the Cobweb Mini Cover Plate cuts out a frame all the way around. And we have other mini cover plates in our collection, and they all are the same size and made to coordinate and work together. So I have the Cobweb, and I wanted to make it blackjack. So blackjack is our dark gray color. So I'm just using direct to paper and dabbing right on top of that Cobweb die cut. And because our ink stayed damp for a short time, you're able to pour embossing powder over the top. I'm using iced silver embossing glitter, and for this particular project I wasn't looking for a super solid embossed image. An uneven embossed and glittered die cut is going to be a great look for this project. If you're going for a solid even coverage of embossing glitter or powder, use embossing ink instead of the regular ink. And then I'm going to adhere that frame to the piece of acetate, and then I'm going to take my foam strips. They're skinny strips that are a great height for shaker cards, and I'm going to create a fence all the way around. So no open gaps, because that's where your sequins will escape. So just create that barrier there. And then on the backer card, I'm going to add my mystic sequins, and then I will add the mini cover plate right over the top of it. The sequins will be trapped inside and they won't escape, and I'll have a shaker card. So I thought a few jack-o'-lanterns would be really cute on here, so I'm just adding those, adding leaves and stems, and then I'm also going to add the boo. I thought the boo just left in white would be really cute. But if you want it to stand out a little more, you can use direct to paper with any coordinating ink pad to make it stand out some more. So what did I use here? Orange peel. And then which patterned paper should I use? So I need a 4 by 5¼ inch piece of patterned paper for my background. I ended up going for the jack-o'-lantern faces. I thought that would be really cute, but many of these patterns will work out just fine. If you are worried about saving patterned paper, take that outer frame from the Amazing Mini Cover Plate and die cut right through the center of your patterned paper. You remove that piece, and then you can inlay your shaker technique piece right inside that and save the patterned paper die cut for another project. So let's look at a few projects from our creative ambassadors. Some ink blending, the narrow stripe cover plate, white embossing on white with pumpkins. I thought that was genius. And then a lot of patterned paper play on these. And then cards with just the jack-o'-lantern faces. These are all fantastic ideas that I hope inspire you. Who's ready for fall? Thanks so much for being here. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.